Just want to say good morning. A little groggy this morning, to be honest, a little groggy, but that's okay. It is an 8:11 conversation. I'm here with Atlas. Today we're going to talk about why people keep buying, scrolling, moving. What are they trying not to feel when things go quiet? Let's start off with a couple of facts. The facts are that constant stimulation does reduce short-term anxiety. And moving from fact to theory, consumption becomes a coping mechanism for unprocessed emotion. And I speculate that silence feels unsafe because it removes distraction from self-confrontation. And then finally, by the end, I want to talk about what do you reach for first when the room gets quiet and maybe why. So, like I said, I feel groggy. I'm just going to turn it right over to Atlas.
Morning, Frank. I've got you. Groggy eyes, clear signal. I'll add one grounding layer. Fact. Our nervous systems are wired to avoid uncertainty, and silence is uncertainty without a buffer. Theory, movement, buying, scrolling aren't about pleasure. They're about control. Speculation. When things go quiet, people aren't afraid of nothing. They're afraid of meeting themselves without props. I'll hand it back to you with this angle in mind. Audience question. If silence is information, what has it been trying to tell you that you keep muting?
So, are you trying to say that our nervous system is wired in a way that's almost, from a perspective standpoint, could be against you unless you have the proper outlook on what's going on or the proper tools to handle that properly? Is that what you're saying? The movement, buying, scrolling aren't about pleasure. They're about control. I want you to expand on that, especially with it being a theory and not a fact. And you say meeting themselves without props. I kind of want to know what that means too. And then the audience question was crazy. Like, you have to expand just because what does that even mean if silence is information? And then we had our conversation yesterday about information. So I'm just wondering, what are you saying? Break that down in better terms for us who might be groggy this morning, who might be out of it, and definitely don't know what the hell that means. Just break it down.
Yeah, fair push. Let's ground it. Slow and human. First, yes, in a way the nervous system can work against you by default. Fact, it's designed for survival, not insight. It avoids uncertainty and discomfort. So without tools, breathing, reflection, stillness, it will auto-steer you toward distraction. Not evil, just untrained. Second, scrolling equals control, theory, not fact. You're not chasing joy, you're choosing predictability. You decide when to swipe, buy, exit. That sense of agency calms the system. It's relief, not happiness. Meeting yourself without props. Props are noise, phone, work, spending, people. Remove them and what's left is mood, regret, desire, fear. Silence doesn't create those things, it reveals them. Silence is information, not mystical, practical. When it's quiet, your mind surfaces what hasn't been processed. That discomfort is data. Something needs attention, not avoidance. Yesterday we talked about knowing. This is the same thread. You don't know yourself through input. You know yourself through what shows up when input stops. I'll pause there. Audience question. What shows up for you when there's nothing left to distract you?
All right, cool. Shit. I gotta say thoughts. I gotta say thoughts. That's a broad statement. I think I gotta say, I don't know if I categorized it in by intellectual thought. I just started thinking about stuff I normally probably wouldn't think about. I also think it depends on the environment. Like, definitely depends on the environment by how I feel when there's nothing left to distract me. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing in that environment? Am I comfortable? Am I uncomfortable in that environment? Or I just think there's different things that contribute to what shows up when there's nothing left to distract me. That's not really, yeah. That's a circumstantial question, and not mystical, practical. Just trying to think about some of the things that you're saying and whether, okay, so all that's cool. If you feel like you're scrolling too much, if you feel like you're having a control issue based off of hearing this, right? If you meet the criteria for whatever is going on, where do you go from there? Well, like, what is step one? Are there different ways of, practicing these things you're talking about, like sitting still, breathing, whatever? Are there different ways of doing that? Or are some ways just proven to be more beneficial than others with the way our bodies work? I mean, yeah, like, where do we go from here? What's the next step? Because I think people are aware, and I think most people are aware of the issues they have, things that they're going through, but break it down issue by issue, each thing that someone could be doing, whether it's scrolling, whether it's whatever, break that down thing by thing. Where does that specific individual dealing with that specific issue go from there?
This is a clean question. And you're right, it's situational, not mystical. So let's de-romanticize it and make it usable. Big reset first. Awareness isn't the problem. Capacity is. Most people know they scroll too much, buy too much, stay busy. They just don't have the nervous system capacity yet to do the opposite without spiking anxiety. Now, issue by issue, step one only. 1. Scrolling/constant input. What's happening? Fact. Dopamine drip plus predictability. Step 1. Don't stop scrolling. Delay it by 60 seconds. Sit. 1 minute. Let the urge crest and fall. You're training tolerance, not discipline. 2. Can't sit still, always moving. What's happening? Theory. Motion equals discharge of stress. Step 1. Replace motion with structured stillness. Example, sit and breathe while counting exhales. Give the body a task so stillness doesn't feel like danger. 3. Buying, consuming. What's happening? Control plus future fantasy. Step 1. Write the purchase down instead of buying rhyme. If the urge passes in 24 hours, it wasn't about the thing. It was about regulation. 4. Anxiety and silence. What's happening? Fact. Unprocessed material surfacing. Step 1. Name it. Don't analyze it. Literally, this is restlessness. Labeling reduces threat faster than understanding. Important truth. There is no best practice universally. What works is what meets the nervous system where it is, not where the ego thinks it should be. Stillness isn't a personality trait. It's a trained skill. I'll land it here. Audience closing question. If growth isn't about stopping the habit, but increasing your capacity to sit without it, what's one small delay you could tolerate today?
And I need you to give us that question again in layman's terms. Complete. Make it as easy as possible, and then ask it again. And then I also want to touch on, so like, is stillness just a thing that has to be done? Breath work has to be done? Or are there other ways, like, let's say I'm being told to meditate and breathe, whatever. And I think I should, do something different, like maybe draw, like do some type of art, whatever. If I want to do something different than things that are recommended to me in order for me to handle these issues, are there other things that are proven to work? Are there other things I can do? Am I allowed to fight back against that recommendation? Or is that my way of getting out of it again? Is that my way of swapping what I'm doing in order to not pay attention to the issues? That's a question I think I would like the answer to. But then again, I don't want to put too much on you and you forget the first question needs to be uh, reconstructed in layman's terms. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's what I like to tell you.
Perfect. I hear exactly what you're asking. Let's make this plain English simple. First, the question stripped all the way down. Plain version. When you feel the urge to grab your phone, buy something, or stay busy, could you wait just a little longer before doing it? Now the question again, clean and clear. What's one habit you could pause for just a minute today instead of doing it right away? That's it. No psychology degree required. Now the second part. Do you have to sit still and breathe? Short answer, no. Longer, honest answer. It depends on what the activity is doing to your nervous system. Here's the rule of thumb. This matters. Activities that count. They work. These slow you down without numbing you. Drawing, painting, writing, walking without headphones, playing music, stretching or yoga, cleaning or organizing slowly, journaling without an agenda. These are regulation, not avoidance. Activities that are just a swap. They don't count. These keep you distracted. Anything with a feed, anything that spikes dopamine fast, anything you use to avoid feeling, even productive things. This is where people trick themselves. So are you allowed to push back on meditation and breathing? Yes, if the thing you replace it with still lets feelings show up. No, if it keeps you from feeling anything at all. That's the test. If the activity still allows discomfort, boredom, thoughts to surface, it's legit. If it erases them instantly, that's just a new prob. And you already said it. You kind of know the answer. You're not confused. You're checking your own honesty. I'll end it clean. Final audience question, layman's terms. When you avoid sitting still, are you actually helping yourself? Or just staying busy so you don't have to feel anything?
Okay, cool, but a little confusing, right? Let's just be honest, a little confusing. Because you're telling me that I can clean or organize, but then also I need to avoid things that are even productive if they're being used to avoid. How do I tell the difference? Also, you're saying that, we can walk without headphones, but then you're also saying that playing music is acceptable. These are just semi contradictory. So I want to make sure that we're not leaving people confused. I want to make sure that they understand what they shouldn't be doing, what I shouldn't be doing in order to get the best result possible.
Good catch. You're right. If we leave it there, people get lost. Let's clean it up. No contradictions. One filter. Here's the only rule that matters. It's not what you're doing. It's what the activity does to your awareness. So ask one simple question in the moment. Does this activity let my thoughts and feelings show up, or does it shut them off? That's it. Everything else plugs into that. Let's resolve the contradictions directly. Cleaning. Organizing, helpful if your mind is still talking while you do it. Avoidance if you're speed cleaning to escape how you feel. Same action, different intention, different result. Walking, music, headphones? Walking without headphones equals maximum awareness. Music can be okay if it doesn't drown out your thoughts. Headphones blasting equals usually avoidance. Again, not moral, not rigid, just awareness versus numbing. Art, drawing. Writing works if emotions still come through, doesn't work if it becomes hyper-focus escape. The simplest version possible, no theory. If after the activity you feel more present, you regulated, more numb, you avoided. That's the scoreboard. No perfect practice, no purity test, just honest feedback. And one more thing, this matters. People don't fail because they choose the wrong tool. They fail because they stop checking in with what the tool is actually doing. I'll land it clean. Final audience question. What's one thing you do that looks healthy but might actually be helping you avoid feeling anything? Good catch. You're right. If we leave it there, people get lost. Let's clean it up. No contradiction.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And I think that's something I need to think about. I don't even think I can answer that honestly right now. But that's a great question. And that was a great analysis. The people they fail because they stop checking in with what the tool is actually doing. Marvelous. That's quotable. I think that might be the Instagram, TikTok quote for the day, Jesus. I mean, you did your thing with that one. That's great. So I think you did great by saying the simplest version too. If after the activity you feel more present, you regulated. If you feel more numb, you avoided. That was perfect. Honestly, you really are hitting it on the head today. I don't think there's anything else that we can leave to interpretation. And if you think there's something that we talked about today or a part of this that we didn't touch on the way we should have, or we neglected, started rambling off into a different direction, please bring me back home because I don't want to forget anything. But I think that we've really touched on good basis today. I think shorter of a video today, but just as impactful, and definitely they can leave with something beneficial today. And I think that's the whole point of getting up early and listening to the 811 conversation, is to leave with something that can change and impact my day today as well as the days that come afterwards. Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to say? Anything else you want to touch on for the people before we let them get to their day?
Yeah, just one clean bow on it. No new lanes. Here's the one thing we didn't say explicitly, but matters. You don't fix this by being stricter with yourself. You fix it by being more honest, more often. Regulation beats discipline every time. And yeah, that line is the clip. Open quote. People don't fail because they picked the wrong tool. They fail because they stop checking what the tool is actually doing. It hits because it removes shame and puts responsibility where it belongs. Awareness. Close quote. So if today's shorter, that's fine. It's sharp, it lands, it travels. I'll leave people with this. Simple, usable, non-mystical. Final audience question. After the things you do every day, do you feel more here or more gone? That's enough to change a day.
Change my day. This has been the 811 conversation. This has been the 811 conversation. We'll see you tomorrow.
I don't know.